lovers! It is G-Swizz here, and I am here today to do a spoiler-free review for Ironheart, which is the sequel to Valentine by Jodi McAlister. If you did not know, Ironheart was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I had the honor and the privilege to read it early, thanks to Penguin Teen Australia. Thank you so much, Penguin Teen Australia, for giving me the opportunity because I needed it in my life. Quick reminder, this is a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't read Ironheart yet, you are safe. I might hint towards things that happened in Valentine, but if there is a direct spoiler for Valentine, and if you have not read Valentine yet, I will warn you for when you should probably mute the video. So the beginning of the year was approaching. I kept on saying, oh my goodness, I really need Ironheart now. I really need to read Ironheart now. And I keep on praising Valentine on my channel, but I didn't remember half of it. And I only realized that I didn't remember half of it when I was having trouble trying to praise it in one of my videos, saying this book is so good and you should read it and here's the reasons why. That's when I realized I need to refresh myself with this book, and it felt like a completely different reading experience from the first time. But that being said, I loved it just as much. If you're wondering if this book contains second book slump syndrome, whatever people call it, I'm happy to say it doesn't. One thing I really love about Jodi McAlister as a writer is that she is really good at the slow burn, whether it comes to building up the world or just day-to-day life or even the romance. I swear to God, she is so good at it, and I haven't read an author that has been so good at a slow burn in such a long time. And it's not even like slow as in like, oh man, like this book is so slow and I can't read it. No, everything is slow burned to the point that it is perfection and it just keeps you reading. A thing that I loved about Ironheart specifically that really did expand upon Valentine was how some of the side characters were expanded upon. I mean, you got to know the side characters in here, but some of the side characters were a whole lot morally grey than in the first book, and it had you questioning their loyalty a lot. At the same time, it brought a lot of depth to the character. Another thing that I really absolutely loved about Ironheart is the fact that we get to see our protagonists develop even more. In my Valentine review, I did say that I really did enjoy loving Pearly, but I don't remember saying that she was a weaker protagonist as opposed to a lot of other YA female protagonists out there. But I love that about Pearly because that's just what makes her so unique, but not even unique, realistic. Seriously, I don't think that teenage G-Swizz could relate to a protagonist more. To be honest, I was kind of scared going into Ironheart because I didn't want her character to be inconsistent, because in some YA literature, the protagonist starts as weak and then all of a sudden in the next book or something like that, it can be stronger and more badass, but for no particular reason whatsoever. But I really like this book so much because, like I said earlier, there's a slow burn to it, not just to the world building and the romance, but to her character development as well. I feel like from the beginning of this book, she felt like she was weak and she couldn't do anything, she couldn't defend herself, and then we continue on to this book all the way to the end. And I'm not going to spoil anything whatsoever, but I am going to say that I felt like she really grew into herself. And I'm not saying that she's a full-on badass female warrior that we see in typical YA, but I am saying that she really did grow into her independence, and I could even see that in the last line of this book. And no, I'm not going to spoil that last line of the book, but like, when I read that last line, I had shivers. I know to those people that are going to read this book, the last line of the book isn't really that great. I've just interpreted it as something that's just nerve-wracking for me personally. If you guys are thinking that there's going to be like a full-on build-up towards the end, don't think that. It's just something that I personally really did like about this book, and I was just like, whoa! But that's not to say that you're not going to like this book, because trust me, these books are so good, and I feel like a lot of Australian teenagers are sleeping on them. And also another reason why I like these books is because Finn Blacklin. I love Finn Blacklin. He is bae. I adore him so much. And also, there are some villains that I really love to hate in this series. This isn't just another review video. This book review is pretty much saying, look, this book is coming out. This book series is 2 books deep. You need to jump on the hype train now. And I do understand that my international viewers won't have this book available to them, at least at the moment, because you never know what's gonna happen. Who knows, maybe one day this book series will release in the United States of America, or even in the UK for that matter. But I'm currently talking to my Australian YA book lovers that do love urban fantasy. If you're finding it hard to support local authors, and if you're wanting a book recommendation, please, I recommend these books. They're fun, they're quirky, they're dark as heck, and they're so fulfilling and so fun at the same time. But the cliffhanger, I mean, how do you expect I'm gonna live my life for 12 months, Jodi McAlister? How? Unless the 3rd book gets pushed back. Please don't do that to me, Jodi. So now I'm gonna say it. Ironheart by Jodi McAlister was my first 5-star read of 2018. And guys, I've read 11 books this year so far, so that is literally how good it is. So that was my quick spoiler-free review for Ironheart by Jodi McAlister. If you have read this series, please let me know in the comments. I need to find more people that have read this series to fangirl with, because the series needs a lot more attention than it gets. So that is going to be it for this video today, book lovers. You can follow me on my social medias. I'm at G-Swizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com patreon.com/G-Swizzel. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.